Welcome back to Bomber's Workshop, and thanks so much for joining me here once again. This time we're going to be having a look at a returning customer's vehicle. This is a 2017 Toyota Tacoma double cab short box, for which I built this custom front bumper about 2 years ago, maybe a little more than that. The bumper itself has been holding up very well. The customer's very happy with it. The issue he's having is with his winch cable. He has a worn 10,000 pound winch in there, which again has been functioning great, but he managed to get the steel cable pretty twisted up and jammed in the winch. So now he can't bring it in or out. It's pretty much jammed in place. So his solution to deal with that in the short term was to cut the steel cable. So now of course it needs to be replaced, and we're going to replace that with a synthetic. Synthetic cables have a lot of advantages over steel. Maybe I'll put some bullet points up on the screen, but some off the top of my head. Synthetic cable is far, far lighter. It doesn't fray and cause cuts in your hands the way that steel cable will. If you drop a synthetic cable in water or very soupy mud, it will float on top rather than sinking down like a steel cable, becoming hidden. So there's a lot of advantages, and that's why we're going to swap it out, in addition to the fact that it's the steel one is all tangled up. So that's going to happen. I think I'll probably wind up having to remove the bumper in order to get enough access to the winch to get that cable out if it really is jammed that badly. So let's have a closer look at this vehicle together. Again, 2017 Tacoma, pretty new vehicle to be as abused as it is, but this customer takes his wheeling and off-roading, overlanding very, very seriously, and I applaud him for doing so. I think it's pretty cool when somebody will take a vehicle that's worth as much as this one is and truly enjoy it the way they want to, rather than feeling restricted. So again, we put a custom front bumper on this thing. These are actually available on my website. However, they are not available for shipping. These are for local install only, as I need to fit them up on the vehicle. So my apologies to long distance potential customers. But if you're local to the BC area, then we can help you out. Anyway, you can see that it's taken some pretty hard hits, this truck and this bumper. If you look carefully, you can see a massive amount of scraping, which you don't have to look carefully for, but you can see there is a little bit of deformation at the bottom of the bumper. It's bowed up in this area here just slightly from some really heavy rock strikes, but the bumper has held up pretty well all in all. It's 3/16 shell. It's got my logo burned into the bottom of it there, as you can see, and there's that winch line that has been cut that we're going to replace. What you see on the fair lead here, this is an old license plate mount, which again, through some pretty hard wheeling, he's broken. So I'll probably remove that from behind the fair lead so he doesn't have that pointless piece on there. You can see your hood misalignment here from a pretty good hit at some point. This side of the vehicle is actually reasonably straight, but if we walk around here, you'll see that again, this rock slider has taken or I shouldn't call it a rock slider, this running board rather, has taken a pretty severe hit. It's really deformed and shoved up at the front here. And it looks like it's well past the pinch seam, but it's tough to tell from this vantage point whether this pinch seam itself has been damaged or whether the rocker itself has been damaged. The owner of this vehicle was talking to me about getting about having me build a high clearance rear bumper for him as his next, or as my next project and his next part. But I am going to suggest to him that he does some rock sliders first to protect this vehicle a little more. I mean, I say that, and his reason for asking for the bumper, if you look at this side of the vehicle, it's nice and clean. However, he slid into a tree with this side of the vehicle and it got heartily caved in, which is why he wants to go with a high clearance bumper that will involve cutting the box sides off and then having the bumper extend through to the back wheel area. So we'll do that for him as well, but we'll see which comes first, the bumper or the sliders. so the bumper is removed from the vehicle. It went reasonably well. And that is the mess we are left with. Not very nice. So I've got to figure out how to untangle this. I'm thinking I'm just going to try to pull it through layer by layer at first, and we'll see how that goes. If it doesn't go well, then I will obviously have to come up with a new approach. But yeah, I'm just going to try to manually unwind it by hand rather than allowing the drum to turn. I'm going to try to just wind the cable around the drum and out of the winch. But maybe I'm dreaming to think that that's going to work. Let's find out. So I began the job of trying to untangle my customer's incredibly tangled winch line by unspooling it bit by bit from the loose end, which he cut with bolt cutters or a zip disc or something. But I'm having no luck with that. Now I could release the winch from the bumper, which would allow me a lot more room to unwind. But it will make the winch really unmanageable. It'll want to flop all over the place on a bench, and I don't imagine that it's going to work that way very easily either. So then what I thought is, well, maybe I can use the power of the winch to wind it in and out slightly and give me, a little bit of relax the tension where I need it here and there, and kind of work it around that way. So I hooked up the winch to the battery again. But what I discovered is, if you look very closely, let me turn on the light here, you can see that the drum inside there is turning, but the cable is not. So the customer's actually managed to either break the cable or rip the little cap on the end of the cable that looks almost like an electrical connector that then has a hole in it, and it's screwed to the drum. So I can't use that method to unspool it, so I'm either stuck removing the winch like I just explained, or I can try cutting a few of the cable wraps and seeing if I can release some tension that way. I'm kind of torn on what to do at this point. The hack and pull method is working. I am just taking my zip disc and cutting random pieces, and where it relieves tension, I'm able to pull out some small bits, and I'm just continuing on with that. So I think that's pretty much the key to it. That piece that I described, where the cable has been affixed to the drum, has become visible. It looks like the screw broke out of it. Heck of a pile of twisted cut cable. Where is that piece there? There's a particularly choice piece. So that's about as bad a tangle as I've seen on a winch line, but it came off reasonably easily. There's the broken screw that secures it to the drum. There's the piece that the screw goes through, so it didn't actually tear that off, it just broke the screw. Now I've got to get my new winch rope into this bumper, and I think the best way to do that is remove the light bar so that I've got good access to the winch, and then I can spool the cable, or the rope rather, into the winch when it's on, when the bumper's mounted to the vehicle. Alternately, I could spool it up from the back side here. Right now my fair lead is blocked by my trolley, so I can't install my winch rope through the fair lead, but I could install it through the back here and then just run my
rope end through the fair lead after I'm done winding it up, or I can put the bumper on the vehicle and wind it through the fair lead hole after I remove the trolley from it. So I'm not quite sure what I'll do yet. I have had an issue with this clutch. It doesn't want to come to free spool on me, so maybe I'm better off to hook this thing up to the battery off of the vehicle and try to spool the winch rope up off the vehicle so that I can play with that free spool function and try to get it working. That's probably the approach I'll take. This is my new winch rope right here, and we've also got a winch hook stopper as well in case the customer wants that. If he doesn't, then I will just keep it in stock, but we'll add this shortly. The winch is hooked back up to the battery, and I am now going to install the winch rope under time-lapse photography, or time-lapse video rather, and get this thing wrapped up. Then we're going to put the bumper on the vehicle, and we will pull the winch rope through the fair lead slot after that. There she is, back in place. And he's got his Factor 55 link on there again instead of a hook, which works out well because this winch rope came with a shackle rather than a hook. So the Factor 55 is definitely an upgrade on that. And the synthetic rope was an upgrade on the steel cable. So upgrades all around. This thing's ready to hit the trails again.
And hit the trails it most definitely will. I thought I'd include a few pictures here for you of the bumper in various states of completion, some pre-powder coat, just so you can get a better idea of how it comes together. For those who are interested in the bumper, it is available to local customers only, and it's featured on my website. That's balmerfab.com, so please check it out there. Thanks so much for joining me here again at Balmer's Workshop. That's a wrap for this video. There'll be another one up soon, so please come back and check that out. And thank you so much for all of the recent subscriptions, the comments, and the likes. It helps me out massively, and it's really appreciated. So again, if you like the content, then please comment on it, like it, and subscribe if you find it worthy. Thanks again. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you next time.